In this video, I'm going to show you lot how I turned a living room from this into this. All right, enough talking, let's get into it. What is good, everyone, and welcome back to another video. Now, earlier this week, I went over to my girlfriend's parents' house of a Sunday evening and I turned their living room into what I'd like to call a cinematic lighting, photo, ambient, apocalypse theme set. All right, that's a mouthful, but thank you, Joe, and thank you, Dave, for letting me use your living room of this evening. Now, I came across this idea on Pinterest and I saw a creator by the name of Carter. I'll leave his Instagram down below and I'll tag it on screen. So creative with lighting. I don't know what I'd call it. Like, I'd say futuristic / old school style of photography, which is becoming really popular over on Instagram. Now, I took some inspiration from this photo and kind of applied it to my own style of photography. So I got all of my lights together and I stuck them outside the bay window of my girlfriend's parents' living room, and I created this really cool ambient set with a fog machine and these 3 lights. This bay window behind me, I am going to shine a lot of light through this. We have a fog machine and we're going to pump this room with fog. We're going to need an extension lead, aren't we? Is there one there? Yes, there is. So there's one there, but I did bring my own one because I feel like we're going to need it to go outside. The interesting thing about this particular shoot is the fact that it was done in a living room. So we didn't have to hire out a studio or any particular location to get this sort of effect. I mean, for any of you lot watching at home, if you've got a window or a bay window with some shutter blinds in front of it, you have a light behind the window and a model or a smoke machine or anything like that, you can pretty much create this same sort of look to your own images. And I know that smoke machines are really cheap now on Amazon. I think they're about £34. Picking up one of them, get a model, get one of your friends around, you can create something from the comfort of your own home, essentially. This video is brought to you by Nanlite. Any light that you lot see in my videos, whether that be tutorials, creative photography, behind the scenes stuff, anything that I do that requires me to use a source of light, 99% of the time I'm using Nanlite product. And now Nanlite have been ever so kind enough to sponsor me and my channel and help me throughout the years of creating on YouTube by providing me with any particular light that I need, such as soft boxes, these pavo tubes that you see on the wall behind me, and in particular for this photo shoot, they provided me with the Mixpanel 60, which was the main key light that I used in this video to create this really cool ambient cinematic effect alongside the pavo tube 15C, which is there on the wall behind me. So those were the 2 lights that I used in this video. And if you guys want to check out Nanlite or any of the products that they make, I will leave a link to their YouTube channel, their socials, all of their stuff down in the description below, so you guys can check out their lights, see what their lights do, and maybe pick one up for yourself if you feel like it's the right thing for your channel or for your creative needs. I've nailed that one. The great thing about the Mixpanel is that there's a feature embedded in the light which allows you to do color tone gels instead of going through the whole RGB color spectrum. By doing that, I was then able to match the same color temperature on the Pavo Tube 15C to the Mixpanel, so it gave off a really nice cinematic orange glow. All right, so this is the setup that I am pretty much going for. So as you can see, we've got 2 of like the main key lights at the side, and then we've got the Pavo Tube bang in the middle. The good thing about this is the divide in the window, because this divide actually blocks out the light. The only light that's being a bit of a pain is this one, because it's quite, the width of it is a bit mad. It's very wide, so you can actually see it when you're inside, whereas these 2 you can't see them because of the divide in the window. So what I may have to do is I may have to bring this back and this closer, this a bit more in, if I need to. But again, in the photos, I'm not sure if you're going to be able to tell once you fill the room with fog and smoke and things. But this is the sort of setup I've gone for. So kind of like 3-point directional lighting. I've closed these panels as well so that it doesn't, like the light doesn't leak on to other parts of the house. So it's going straight through this window. Whereas this one, again, I don't have any barn doors for it. So we just got to hope that this isn't in shot when we're actually taking the photos.
Well, we've moved the sofa to sort of get that silhouette shot, but what is that?
It's a banana.
That is a crusty banana.
Okay, so I've changed the setup just a little bit because this light here was getting on my nerves because it's so big. I don't really want to see it in shot. So I've put it over to the left so you can't actually see it. And then I've got the mix panel, which I've moved a little bit further back. And then I've put the pavo tube further to the left. And then, like I said, in line with this, this window so you can't see it. So now, when I come in here, this is what we're looking at. Actually, looking at that now, I may have to bring the mix panel a little bit over to the left, but all in all, I mean, if I shoot this way, it looks really, really nice. But when I turn, obviously, the power tube on, this side will be a little bit more lit as well. That circular light, as you can see, is just too overpowering. It's just annoying me. The great thing about doing photo shoots like this is the fact that there is no added pressure. Like, you're your own creative boss at the end of the day when it comes to doing shoots like this. There's no added pressure or someone telling you what to do and what not to do. If you make a mistake, you can correct it and it won't really affect you, which is why doing shoots like this is so beneficial, especially when it comes down to lighting, because lighting, in my opinion, is one of the most overlooked things when it comes to film and photography, which is why playing around or renting some lights, whether that be you rent some from your friend or using an app, which is what I did at the beginning, by just renting out lights and playing around with them, seeing what they do, can really benefit your creative career because you'll have that knowledge and it will be so beneficial for you for any sort of project that you go on, whether that be paid projects or projects for yourself. Having that knowledge of lighting is so key and important to have. Hit a little bit of a brick wall here. When I'm inside and I'm shooting, if I'm on the left-hand side of the room, you can't see the lights, whereas if I'm on the right-hand side of the room, you can. So I've hit a bit of a brick wall here because I don't know where to put the lights. If I move them further back, I don't get as much brightness filling the room, if that makes sense. But I could probably try it. But what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna fill the room with fog before I do that to see what it looks like, because once there's an ambience in the room and once there's haze and fog in the air, it might, fingers crossed, block out all of the parts of the light which I can see through the window. Plus, if I dim the blinds and I like turn the blinds down, the less light will come into the room. So fingers crossed, once there is fog filled into the room, we don't see any lights. And I've actually turned my pavo tube off because I'm an idiot and I forgot to bring a charger for it. Now we've got the fog machine working. Hopefully we can get a nice bit of ambience on the go. And now if we shut the blind, we should get some nice rays.
I think it's really nice.
Yeah?
Mm-hmm.
Right, cool. Yeah, we're getting some really cool light rays come through. Trick with this is it needs a bit of wafting to look good. You know, you don't want it to be too steamy or smoky, but I think we are there in the end. Okay, I'm gonna go turn the other light on. Let's have a little bit of a chat about the lenses that I used on this shoot. Now, the lens that I used the most was the 50mm 1.4. I would say I used it about 80% of the time on these pictures that you're about to see in the next 1 or 2 minutes. I also had the 85mm 1.4 with me. The reason why I didn't use this as much as I wanted to is because the room wasn't deep enough, and as you know, the 85mm is hella compressed, so I actually ended up using the 50mm the most. And then on the 50mm I had a Tide Optics Cine Soft Pro Mist filter. They make the highlights look so soft and it makes the whole image look way more cinematic. I just love mist filters, so I will leave the link to Tide Optics down in the description below also, because they make some really cool mist and very affordable mist Cine really soft filters, so I'll leave them down in the description. Just this with my A7R III, and that was about it. So nothing too complicated, no like lens, not a lot of lens swapping was going on during this video, apart from just switching between that and the 85mm. Yeah, you need to do like that. For the shoot, I'm trying to be as quiet as possible, packing up because people are in bed. So back to Ben in the studio. Our absolutely amazing model and my girlfriend, who was ever so kind enough to agree to help me on this shoot and model for me, she done absolutely incredible. Her body movements and everything just made these photos look a lot better, because I feel like when you're working with a model who knows what to do, especially with like body movements and portrait photography, it's just so much easier and it just makes the photos come alive. So she did absolutely amazing in creating these photos and making them the way that they are. So without her, I couldn't have actually done this entire shoot. It would have just been a window with some orange light through it, which would have been pretty boring. When it came down to editing these pictures, they were actually way easier to edit than I thought, because I only had like 3 colors first of all I was playing around with, which were the reds, oranges and yellows, plus the basic adjustments such as the exposure and contrast and highlights. But apart from that, I wasn't really doing a lot more to the photo. If anything, I brought down that contrast and made the pictures look very flat. I brought down the contrast by about 60 or 70%, brought up the highlights, shadows, whites and blacks, and then I turned the oranges yellowy orange rather than a red orange. Once I had that first base, I'd say, built for one picture, it was really easy for me to just apply that base to every other picture I had and just sort of edit and tweak a few things on top of that. And another thing that I used was the radial mask. A couple of the portrait ones where Cole was sitting on the sofa, I used the radial mask just to the left of her to make the oranges that were coming out of the window look a little bit more bright and vibrant, but I didn't do that on every picture. But for most of them, I just brought up the highlights and the shadows and the blacks and brought down the contrast, sharpened a few, and I didn't actually add that much grain to these because there was some natural grain that came from the camera, so I didn't need to add too much grain either. So it was really easy to edit these pictures, which was actually very nice for me, because usually I spend ages and ages editing photos, but for these pictures, didn't spend that long editing them and they came out so good. Sometimes you don't actually need a whole load of editing to make the photos look good. It's been quite some time, to be honest, since I've made a video like this, and these types of videos are like my favorites to make alongside like POVs and things. So if you guys do like videos like this, let me know down in the comment section below, because I'd love to hear your thoughts. But for now, that is it for me. If you guys did like this video, don't forget to leave a like rating, subscribe if you are new to the channel, and I will see you all very soon for next week's video. We got a good one on the way. Not mentioning anything, it might be a studio tour, just might be. I'll see you soon. Take care. Peace.